Okay, so today we start a brand new class, and the topic is the Kosher Kitchen. Okay, and we start our class as usual from Sefer Chaim, and big topic is Lashon Hara, laws of derogatory speech. And it says, could you please put yourself on mute? Thank you. Sorry. Breach of Halachah. It is forbidden to relate that someone has remiss in matters of Jewish observance, be it in a transgression prohibited by the Torah or a rabbinical prohibition, or even a breach of custom. Such a statement is derogatory by the Torah standards and thus is forbidden. Therefore, it is forbidden to mention an incident in which one of the people involved transgressed a halachah, even if in society where the particular halachah is commonly ignored. So it's very interesting. So let's try to explain. So we're talking about somebody said that and it was not for a constructive purpose. So if for example, you're trying to teach somebody and you give examples, don't be like that because, like in general statement, even though in your mind you're talking about a specific person, but you're given and that the listener does not know what you're talking about, there is no problem. But in general, if you say this, our friend, that our mutual friend, he does not put tefillin every day, let's say, right? So of course it's derogatory. Even it's not derogatory, not so derogatory in the eyes of the listener. Maybe he does the same, or like people from that neighborhood, they don't observe that much, but still not allowed to say because it's derogatory. It's Lashon Hara. Okay, stop here. Okay, no problem. So we start a new book, and before we go into the book itself, there is an overview, and I just glance of this over to the overview. So to talk about all of the spiritual things that connect to observance of the mitzvahs, and of course the mitzvah of eating kosher. So I think it would be beneficial for us to go through this overview. Maybe we're going to finish in a few classes, but maybe one class, I don't know, we'll see. But there is a lot of very interesting information. And just to say about this topic, Kosher Kitchen, so we never cover this topic per se. We were talking about Shabbos kitchen. So even though the word kitchen is the same, but there we were not talking about kosher, just we were talking about melacha pertaining to Shabbos. And in our class of Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we also talk about kosher foods, but it's just general overview. So here we're going to go on all of the possible scenarios and details. Beezrat HaShem. Okay, so let's start. It is appropriate that one meditate according to his intellectual capacity regarding the laws of the Torah to understand their deep meaning. These laws, those laws that which he finds no reason and knows no purpose, should nevertheless not be treated lightly. Okay, so who said it? Rambam, Hilchas Meila 8.8. So even though as Rambam teaches us, first we have to do, of course, and then we have to learn. So that's the proper way. Don't question the mitzvah while you're doing it. You do according to whatever they taught you, according to whatever the book says, and then in the process you learn about like deep meaning. But for sure you have to learn about the mitzvah, every mitzvah in details as much as you can. Right, and contemplate. Continue. Reason or faith. Throughout the ages, Torah observant Jews followed the dictates of the Torah as a matter of basic faith. That is as it should be. Our adherence to the Torah and its laws cannot be dependent upon finding any of them satisfactory. This is the principle of Na'aseh v'nishma. We will accept and we will hear. The declaration of the commitment, which preceded the receiving of the Torah itself. So let's stop here and try to understand what we are saying here. So our faith is like basic, based on that we're doing not because it's good for us. So of course, right? Not because it's good for us, not because of the big reward that we're going to get, even though this answer is also true. But we're doing the mitzvahs because HaShem said so, right? So HaShem said that's it, right? That's what we must do, and that's it. And we're doing it. And it's easier to withstand all of the life tests because there is no condition. Right? I mean, if person is going to do because he's going to benefit, right? So once the benefit is over, so he's going to stop doing mitzvahs, right? Because he was keeping Shabbos, and his business doubled, but then business went down, and he said, okay, the Shabbos thing did not work out for me so well, so I'm going to stop. You understand? So our approach, and when we teach others, we keep the mitzvahs because Hashem said so. Okay. Acceptance of this principle, unconditional commitment to the will of Hashem, is a prerequisite of the acceptance of the Torah. See Sharei Teshuvah 2:10. Okay, so one more time, we do mitzvah because Hashem said so. Of course, but it does not contradict that we have to learn about like deep meaning of the mitzvahs. There is two separate things, right? The more a person learns about the mitzvah, the more he loves it, and the more he understands, he or she understands it. One who puts the commandments of Hashem under the scrutiny before unreversibly assuming their fulfillment is essentially not accepting the dictates of Hashem, but rather those of his own intellect. So a person say, okay, this mitzvah, they say it's good, so how is it good? And he's trying to understand, like, should I do it or should not do it, right? If I'm going to have time, I'm not going to have time. That's already, the person started going in the wrong direction when he's trying to use his intellect. So with our intellect, so Hashem always say, and not all, but at least a few times in the Torah says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. So we don't have intellectual capacity to understand Hashem. So, and why he said so. Okay. He recognizes no higher authority than that of his judgment. So meaning this person. So if I understand, I'm going to do it. If I don't understand, I'm not going to do it. As Rabbeinu Yonah appointedly states, for if the servant says to his master, I will do all that you tell me, except one thing, he has shed the yoke of the master, and does what is written in his own eyes. Sharei Teshuvah 1:6. So it's very interesting example. So I'm going to do everything what the master said, except one thing. And this one thing could be the smallest things. He said that you have to wear, I don't know, black shoelaces, and he said, no, I'm going to wear brown shoelaces. So one thing I don't agree about the shoelaces, that's enough to be rebellious. Okay? Even though he accepts all of the big things. So it's already he throwing off the yoke of the master, right? And he said, I have my own intellect decide what I should and what I should not do. And of course, it's we have to see ourselves, like, and check ourselves and contemplate and see if we are not in the same position of this slave, right? Not a slave or student or whoever, or Jew, right? The one who is trying to contemplate mitzvahs and say, this is good, this is very good, but this, I don't, maybe, okay, I'm accepting, but I don't agree. That's the problem. Okay. Acceptance of the Torah entails subordination to the law, regardless whether or not we can intellectually comprehend the logic or emotionally identify with them. Okay, so it's very interesting. I mean, that's very clear statement, but let's read it again and we're going to explain. Acceptance of the Torah entails subordination to its laws, regarding whether or not we can intellectually comprehend the logic, emotionally identify with them. Okay, so here's so it says here, so acceptance of the Torah. So so we cannot involve our intellect. So intellect has to come second, right? To try to understand, but first we do. And especially emotions. So the problem is many people, emotions. And many people cannot be cannot be judges, for example, right? Why? Because they're very emotional. They would not think with the intellect, right? They would think with the emotion, and it's easier to cheat people like that, like to confuse them, right? In these emotional people, and Torah said not to be so, right? And if Torah said, for example, somebody is innocent because we don't have evidence, right? So you have to let it go. So if it was, for example, give this example that one person kills another and it was only one witness. So that one single witness cannot go to court and testify. Cannot. So we learn in laws of Lashon Hara. So these people, these judges in the court, they're not allowed to hear testimony of single witness. Clear. So people say, yeah. So this murderer, this rapist, he's going to do whatever he wants, right? That there is no justice. That HaShem is limited. Chas v'shalom. That's what people say. Why? Because they judge the situation based with their emotions. Understand? That's not what we do. We do with intellect. Continue. This being so, any examinations of the meaning of the mitzvah seems superfluous, right? So it's very interesting statement. So if I have to do it, and whether I understand it or not, so what does it matter? That doesn't make a difference. I understand or not. So maybe don't waste my time. Why bother exactly? Why bother explaining something that requires no rationalization? So if there is no human rationalization, right? So why do I need to learn? Okay, it's a good question. The fact that HaShem commands us perform a mitzvah is a reason enough. Indeed, the only reason that is the mitzvah must be carried out, right? So as we said before, like the author is trying to ask the question, why do we need to learn deep in the mitzvah, like a reason for this mitzvahs, right? If the only reason that we must know that HaShem said so, and this is the main reason. Okay. Nevertheless, Rambam's ruling clearly states, so we're going to see, that not only one is permitted to meditate upon the meaning of the mitzvahs, it is appropriate to do so. Okay, so that's not how Rambam teaches. Of course, he said that you have to do anyway, but you must meditate and you must learn deep inside. Herein lies a dilemma. Granted that we should ponder on the mitzvahs, but isn't this ultimately an existent exercise in futility? Can a finite mind of man actually grab the infinite wisdom hidden with each mitzvah? Surely any interpretation that we may offer as a product of human understanding, can our limited faculties comprehend and encapsulate the true meaning of the divine mitzvah? Perhaps we need to re-examine the purpose of attempting to understand the mitzvahs. So he's asking all of these good questions, like as we quote before, we said, as HaShem said, my mind is not your mind, my understanding is not your understanding. What are you trying to do, right? So how can we try to explain the reason of the mitzvahs? All of them will be according to our own logic, limited logic. Okay. So we're going to answer, of course. He asked asking the questions, he's going to give us an answer. Beezrat HaShem. Okay. Qualifying the eternal. Mitzvah need, so if somebody have questions, you can, for new people, we have few new people who join us today for the first time, you can ask me, you can interrupt, there is no problem. So of course, only on a topic. After the class, you can ask any questions, but during the class, only on a topic that we learn, please. Okay. So like subparagraph, qualifying the eternal. Mitzvahs need no explanation. Our sages teach, one who in referring to the mitzvah of shloach haken, the chasing away of the mother birds before taking the eggs, or a chick says, even young birds merit your kindness in silence. Okay. Mishnah Berurah 5:3. Okay. So we have this mitzvah, and it's one of the mitzvahs that our Torah says describe what reward the person is going to get. So another mitzvah that the Torah explicitly say, well, what reward is going to get is respect to the parents. So it says that if you're going to respect your parents, mother and father, so the reward is going to be a long life. Okay. And another mitzvah for which Torah promises long life is this taking chicks or eggs from the nest and chasing away the mother bird. So I mean, you put a ladder, you climb somewhere, I don't know where, right, and chase away the mother birds to take the eggs. So of course, most of the people, especially if you do it in a city and you're doing it with the pigeons, of course you don't want to eat these eggs. Of course they are harmful, and I know what garbage these pigeons eat. Okay. So, but it's still a mitzvah. So, why for this small mitzvah such a big reward? I understand for respecting the parents, and if the parents, Beezrat HaShem lives a long life and they're sick, you have to take them to the doctor. You have to like clean them, buy them food, like all of these things, like day in and day out without any vacation. And it takes a lot of efforts. I understand why Torah said, okay, don't worry, just do what I told you. And as a compensation, you're going to get a long life. It's like humanly, like according to human logic, it makes sense. But this mitzvah, like, takes you exactly, I don't know, like, I'm not sure how high is the nest. Like you climb there, you take the eggs, you put it back. You usually people put it back. Nobody take it with them, usually, right? But they did the mitzvah. Why is long life? Does not, like, logically does not, these two mitzvahs do not compare, but the reward is the same. Okay, continue. The purpose of understanding the mitzvah is not to comprehend what is accomplished with the mitzvah, but rather perceive the lesson to be drawn from the mitzvah. So from every mitzvah we can draw a lesson, but there is a second part, a spiritual part. Then when a person does a mitzvah, he creates or she creates an angel that is going to be as advocate on their behavior when the time comes, and plus they create something positive in the spiritual heavens. Okay, so these things do we learn? Okay, if you have time, but that's not the main thing that we learn about the mitzvah, right? One of the main things that we learn, what lesson do we learn from the mitzvah? Lesson. HaShem does not need us to care for His creatures. Okay, He has countless means at His disposal. The purpose of the mitzvah of Shliach Haken is that we internalize the feelings of compassion. So it's see Ramban, Dvarim 22:6, right? So he said, okay, so he said, so this specific mitzvah is to teach us compassion. So of course you can take an eggs, and you're not obligated to ask permission of this mother bird, but it's proper, like so the bird would not see it. Thus, when we investigate the reason behind any of the mitzvahs, it is not to explain the mitzvah, but to discover that we may draw from it and how it may inspire us. So we have to, from every mitzvah, and of course from eating kosher, we're going to explain that there are many mitzvahs that you can learn, and how it's all connected with, as we started this class, with the proper speech, right? And not to contaminate this holy vessel, your mouth, with which you speak the words of the Torah, do not contaminate with the not kosher food or forbidden food. Right? Okay. Then the center of this of the rationale of the mitzvah elevates the performance from the mere physical act to the act that makes a spiritual significant impact on our lives. So I'm going to read again. It's amazing line. Then the center of the rationale of the mitzvahs elevates the performance of from the mere physical act, like a mechanical act, right, to the act that makes spiritual significance impact on our lives. That's the difference. When you do it like technical details, everything correctly, right? You say all the right words with right pronunciation, right? Everything correctly, or you're doing it with a deep understanding what exactly you're doing and how it's going to affect your life. Since any theory or explanation advanced as a rationale for a mitzvah is mere conjecture, one can never draw a halachic conclusion from any interpretation of the mitzvah, even one presented by early authorities. So it's very interesting. As valid as any interpretation may be, it certainly does not reflect to complete spectrum of the meaning of the mitzvah, just as the Torah itself is infinite. So to each of the mitzvahs, of its mitzvahs. Yet simultaneously, since we are enjoined to ponder on the meaning of the mitzvahs, any hypothesis about their rationale, congruent with the knowledge of the principle of the Torah guidelines, is valid and enhance the effect of the mitzvah upon a man. So let's, it's a very difficult paragraph. Let's read it one more time, and we're going to explain line by line. Okay, so it says here, since any theory of the or explanation advanced as a rationale for the mitzvah is merely conjecture, one is never drawn the halachic conclusion from the interpretation of the mitzvah. So all of these things, like as we said, even for shooing the mother bird, chasing away the mother bird. Okay, the explanation, the most famous explanation is the compassion, right? But still, it's only like one aspect of the mitzvah. So we cannot derive like any halachic. We cannot derive any halachic decisions how to do the mitzvah. So maybe it would be more compassionate if I'm going to do it this way. If the mitzvah is about compassion to the bird, is about mercy to the bird, maybe I should do it like this. No, right? So two things going separately. The technicality of the mitzvah is explained in Shulchan Aruch, right? And this spiritual part is explained by other sages. Okay. So one can never draw halachic conclusion from any interpretation of the mitzvah, even one presented by early authorities. So I mean, we don't deny the early authorities, but we just saying that those are two separate things. Okay, so meaning the spiritual reasons and the physical, and the action part. As valid as any interpretation may be, it certainly does not reflect the complete spectrum of the meaning of the mitzvah. So, and many things like I give you this example. If you read the commentary on the Torah, right, and you can take different commentaries. So if you look Rashi, so Rashi would explain this verses like that, and he would ignore all others, all other not all like he would explain the verse number 3 and explain, let's say skip verse number 4 and 5, because in the mind of the Rashi it's understandable, like does not need any explanation. But Ramban, for example, he would go in verse number 3 and write 3 pages of the explanation, and the other sages would do the same, or even on one verse they would give totally different, totally opposite opposite explanation. So just because we read one of the explanation or even all of them does not mean that it's a final and it's like everything. Okay, so still it does not provide the whole spectrum meaning of the mitzvah. Just as the Torah itself is infinite, so too each of the mitzvahs, right? So just Torah is infinite. Like for example, me personally, I'm trying to read every year different commentary on the parsha, like a totally different rabbis, and you see how they explain. It's unbelievable. It has nothing to do with one another, like not even close. You understand? So that's the explanation. The Torah is infinite. So you can read the same parasha like I don't know 100 years, and you still every every time you read, you're going to get a new details. So too with every mitzvah. Yet simultaneously, since we are enjoined to ponder on the meaning of the mitzvahs, any hypothesis about the rationale congruent with our known principle of the Torah guidelines is valid and enhance the effect of the mitzvah upon man. So, but since, as we said, Rambam explained to us, right, that you have to ponder on the meaning of the mitzvah. So all of these things that they help. The more you learn about the mitzvah, the more you fell in love with it, and the dearer it becomes to you, for sure. Okay, continue. Furthermore, one should never be tempted to detach the moral lesson of the mitzvah from its performance. So as we said before, right, and maybe like in simple words, you can say it's a mitzvah. Every mitzvah, it's like a body and a soul. So body is a physical act, whatever you do, and the soul is like this your kavana, right? Your intention and what you understand about this mitzvah. Okay. One may feel that once he has penetrated the meaning of the mitzvah and drawn from it inspiration and wisdom, he may neglect the actual performance of the mitzvah ritual. So and we find that like many people who learn in Torah like superficially, they know they know a lot. If you ask, they know a lot, right? But they don't do exactly zero. And you would ask like how is it possible? Like we have this person just recently comment on our channel where we had this clip about Mashiach from Rabbi Rubinschlitter, and this like short sentences with 3 dots and then continue this like a crazy person. So I asked him if he learns Torah on a daily basis, Halachah on a daily basis. Of course he does not, right? So and many people they get carried away by this spirituality, and they forgot to do the physical acts. Right? That's what exactly he's talking about. Sometimes one may feel that once he has penetrated the meaning of the mitzvah and drawn from it inspiration and wisdom, he may neglect the actual performance of the mitzvah. And it's very, very like, I see it like every time with many people. Okay, so continue. That's why, that's one of the reasons that we started the series of classes to teach inspiration is very good. You have to observe Torah, be close to HaShem. Okay, I wanna be close to HaShem. So what do I do? Right. So okay. So what do I do? Okay. So that's exactly what you do. Right. When a person does the mitzvahs, it's one of each mitzvah is 600. We have 613 ways to connect to HaShem. So by know the address. And this address, the specific address, is perform the mitzvah exactly as Hashem meant it and as was described by our sages. Prescribed. Okay, so of course this approach this is incorrect, as Ramban in a book Emunah and Bitachon, chapter 19 teaches: if one experiences spiritual awakening, he must concretize it if it is so, if it is to have any permanence. So can characterize it, meaning like make it permanent, something that you can say I did it. Like inspiration is very good, but it has to be transferred into some physical actions. Okay, so it's very similar to what we just explained. It is insufficient to be a good Jew in the heart and mind, as Rabbi Rubenschlitt always say. Yeah. So people who say I'm a good Jew, I'm a good Jew, I'm a good person. So how are you a good person? I don't kill anybody, right? I don't steal from somebody. I feed stray dogs. I do acts of kindness. I give $1 to the homeless person. Okay, so Rabbi Rubenschlitt always says these things do not make you good, right? So these things make you not bad. So if you don't kill somebody, it's not because you don't want to kill somebody, right? Maybe you would like to kill that person. Let's say your boss or I don't know, whatever, your neighbor, right? Maybe, but you're afraid of a prison, right? You're afraid of the punishment. You're afraid that maybe he's going to kill you first. Does not make you a good person, right? You steal, you don't steal because you're afraid to go to jail. Right, and you're afraid of consequences. Right, you're good to your wife not because you're a good person, but because maybe you're afraid to be alone. Right, and all other things. Right. So what makes a person good? Right, it's when he produces good. So HaShem is good. HaShem is ultimate good, and only He can define good. Only He. Right, the source of all good can define what is good. And one attribute of HaShem is what? That He always gives. He never takes back anything from us. As this famous clown Friedman says, Menace Friedman, Hashem Rashei Merkav said, yeah, God needs you. Right? That's not what Torah says. Hashem, clearly, I don't need anything from you. Right? Whatever you do, it's for yourself. But Hashem always gives, never receives. And so definition of a good person is the one who gives, right? One who produces good. And what Hashem sees as good and what He describes as a light is actually mitzvah. So it says, right? So the mitzvah is light. Torah is a Torah's Chaim, a Torah of life. And all its exalted ideas must find the active expression and actualization in a daily life. So let's read one more time because it's also very deep line. The Torah is a Torah Chaim, Torah of life, right? But it is a Torah of life, and that's what we think when we take out the Torah. But it's only the continuation of the verse is it's Torah of tree of life for those who grasp it. So only if you follow Torah, it's tree of life. If you don't, so you're on the wrong side. And all its exalted ideas must find active expression, right, and actualization in daily life. So just to say that Torah is good, Torah is life is good, right? It's very good, but person has to act, right? Active expression, actualization in daily life. The obligation to keep the mitzvahs is therefore independent of any understanding of them. So as we said before, but he's more concrete. So one more time, the obligation to keep mitzvahs is therefore independent of any understanding of them. As we said at the beginning of the class, we do the mitzvahs and we continue learning. So for example, if somebody is Baal Teshuvah or somebody is a convert, of course person cannot learn. It's like too much overwhelming information, right? Like I have this reports from several people who did not learn, even though they were observing for some time before we met, before we started studying together. And I asked them, like, the different people, different age group, and say, why you never like read any Jewish book? He said, and people say almost word to word. We went to the Jewish bookstore and saw like thousands of books, like all of the shelves, like filled with books, and we did not know what to buy. Just and turned back and went out. It's very interesting, right? So of course it's a lot of information when you just begin, but that's why we start with these simple books, right? The more modern books like this one. The bottom line you do 1, 2, 3, and then you learn more, and then you go to Shulchan Aruch, and he expands, and then you go to commentary, commentary meaning to Rema, you go to Rema, you go to Mishnah Berurah, and you have a better idea what's going on with it. But you don't start with Shulchan Aruch. I mean, in our days, right? Because you need to know the bottom line, what to do. And just because you do not understand does not should not stop you from performance any mitzvah. One who performs a mitzvah without any thought of its meaning has nevertheless fulfilled his obligation, albeit in a diminished form. While one who contemplates and internalizes but ignores the mitzvah act has in no way discharged his responsibility and remains liable for the sin of omission and its accompanying penalties. So it's very interesting. So let's try. It's very, very deep understanding, and what I see, at least people who only watch the videos on internet and never read the actual book, right? That's they actually, many of them in this category. So let me read one more time. We're going to explain. One who performs a mitzvah without any thought of the meaning of its meaning has nevertheless fulfilled the obligation. So you did a mitzvah, and you know that you did it. So you see, like a person was absent-minded. Person like has all the stress at work and life with kids, this and that. Okay, all of us have our own challenges, right? So, but he knows that he did the mitzvah even without paying attention. I said the blessing. I did the physical act. After the fact, you get in a reward. And the clowns, of course, they're going to teach you, no, you have to love God. You have to do it out of love. So a person, and I heard it many times in my life, no, I cannot keep kosher. So I said, why you cannot keep kosher? No, because I have this non-Jewish girlfriend, because I still work on Shabbat. I will say, well, what is the connection? What is it? This is one mitzvah, this is another mitzvah. But these clowns tell them, or they like contemplate, they make up the reason why they don't want to do the mitzvahs, right? Why? And they say, because I'm not doing everything, I'm not going to do this as well. So of course it's a not right approach, right? So one more time, even you did the mitzvah, you understood exactly zero. And even if you say the blessing, so somebody insists in saying blessing in Hebrew, I have to write them like in their own language, how to say, oh, there is the transliteration on internet, they don't need me, basically, right? So, and they said they understand exactly zero. They do not understand why doing that. After the fact, of course, it's not the highest level of the mitzvah, but they did the mitzvah, 100%. While the one who contemplates and internalizes, so but this person, he's very spiritual, right, in his mind, and he contemplates, internalizes, and ignores the mitzvah act. So he spends so much time on learning about the mitzvah, so he neglected the time of the mitzvah past, right? Ignores the mitzvah act. Has no way, he's in no way discharged his responsibility, and remains liable for the sin of omission and its accompanying penalty. So meaning, it's very interesting. But person who thought about the mitzvah, he learned a lot of the mitzvah, but did not do, so he's liable. HaShem gave him opportunity to do the mitzvah. He gave him health and time and everything, right? And person did not do it, so he's responsible. Okay, so it's accompanying penalty. Usually for positive mitzvahs, there is no penalty, usually. There are a few examples. What would be the example? Like tefillin, right? Tefillin is a positive mitzvah, so a person who did not put tefillin, so there is consequences, right? Or somebody, or circumcision. right? So that's the second one, positive mitzvah, but there is consequences, and I think he did not eat matzah on Pesach. Sometimes is a Pesach, but that's it. So for others, there is no actual penalty. The principle of Naseh v'nishma. So Naseh v'nishma is translated as we will do and we will hear. So first we do and then we listen the explanation. That was original approach of Jewish people, right? When we accepted the Torah, and it must be exactly the same today. So I had this conversation with somebody. They say, "But yeah, but what is it? This not reform, but the different group." Different cults. So I said that there is no difference between them and Christianity. They all modifiers of the Torah, right? This modify in this way, and those modify in that way. It does not make any difference. So we're trying to adhere to the authentic Torah. Whatever our forefathers did when we received the Torah, they say we will do and we will listen. HaShem liked it very much. So okay, so just stick to that. Stick to whatever works, right? So one more time, the principle of Naseh v'nishma does not only mean that we accept the Torah without preconditions, but also that nishma, the hearing and understanding of the mitzvah follows and is secondary to Naseh. Okay, so right. Meaning that we have to learn anyway, right? But it's only secondary. So two parts of the mitzvah so you have to do. It's the important part, first part, and second you have to learn. It is actually right. So one second. The hearing and understanding of the mitzvah follows the secondary of Naseh. Okay. Secondary to Naseh. Naseh, it's action. It's actual fulfillment. Okay. Internalizing the mitzvah is only meaningful when coupled with the performance of the mitzvah. Okay. So one more time, internalizing the mitzvah is only meaningful when coupled with the performance of the mitzvah. So only like when you do the mitzvah, so you already know the actions, what comes first, what comes second, and how it goes. So then it's easy for you to combine it together in your mind, and it's easier to understand. So, but one person does not look like what we are talking about, and it's all very foreign for that person. So to explain him like this concept, it's like a waste of time, almost. This is a tandem with the axiom of Pirkei Avos 3:12. Anyone whose wisdom exceeds his good deeds, his wisdom will not endure. Right? So, and it's very interesting, right? So, as I would say one more time, anyone whose wisdom exceeds his good deeds. So, good deeds is a secondary, right? He's engrossed or she's engrossed in intellectual understanding, just watching the videos. Right? Are you going to learn watching in videos about parasha? Okay, it's very interesting. There some rabbi collects all of the jewels from all the different across the different sages, and it's very interesting. But are you going to know how to wash hands before the bread? Most likely not. Right? Right? So we said deeds must precede the intellect. Okay, continue. So of course it's short explanation. For a longer explanation, you can watch Rabbi Reuven Shlita's Pirkei Avos series. He spends, I don't know how long he spends, maybe 3 hours explaining this verse. Just as the fire of the candle cannot exist without a wick, right, on which to kindle, so the most profound and exalted concept contained in the divine wisdom of the wisdom must find a physical expression in order to be sustained. So it's unbelievable. I'm not sure if his language or he borrowed this from somewhere else. It's very interesting. So one more time. Just as the fire of a candle cannot exist without a wick, right? You have a beautiful candle, very expensive. If there is no wick, it's not going to burn. It's useless, right? on which to kindle. So you kindle the wick, and that's how it works. So the most profound and exalted concept containing divine wisdom of the mitzvah must find the physical expression in order to be sustained. So you need something physical. First, we go by physical. First, we have a wick, right? Like even this wick you can have without candle. Of course, it's going to burn in a few seconds, but it can burn. But candle without wick is not going to burn. So you must have them together. Let me check time. Okay. Any questions on what we said so far? Any concepts? Okay, so let's do one more piece then. Taam, right? Reason and taste. Mitzvot generally may be classified into two separate categories. Hukim, right? Laws whose understanding rationale remains an unknown entity to the human being, and mishpatim. So hukim. So I'm not sure he's going to say. Yeah, this red cow is a hawk. This meaning there is no logical explanation of this the mitzvah red cow. I'm not sure. Is he going to explain? He's not going to explain. Just to understand to explain the idea. So the idea is that they would take this red cow and they're going to burn it, and then collect these ashes and mix it with the water, and then sprinkle all on the people, and people who are in contact with that, so they're going to get purified. I think on the 3rd and 7th days, if I remember correctly, so they have to be sprinkled with this water. So not only contact with the dead, even after other impurities. Okay, no problem. So it's all good, but so these waters, they have purifying power. Right? But it says the person who sprinkles them, or the one who prepares, he becomes spiritually impure. So now he has to go and dip into the mikvah. So like, how is it possible that the water that makes everybody pure, but this person who prepares it makes him pure? So of course there is no logical explanation, or no logical explanation for another mitzvah. What is it like? That shatnez, right? That we're not allowed to wear wool and linen in one garment. Okay, so where's the problem? Well, right? So it's only divine decree. Of course, they come. Some rabbis come with explanation, but it's not even secondary. So we treat it as a hawk, divine decree, and of course there is second type of the mitzvah. 1 second. Human being and mishpatim, right? Those to whose reason man has been made privy. Okay, allowing him an awareness of the positive impact and they have on society at large, and on individual person quality of life. Okay, so one of the things I would say, if it's eating kosher, right? So you see, like somebody who was not eating kosher and started to eat kosher. So you see, it changes the character traits of a person who. So he would become, in most instances, more calm, more like easygoing, right? The expression of person's face is going to change, like his manner of speech, right? Why? The only reason, because he started eating kosher and maybe he learned Torah as well. Okay. So these things we understand. Okay. Or keeping Shabbos, right? Also. Okay. Societal large individual. Okay. Continue. In Tanakh, the basic portion of food necessary for a minimal human survival is called lechem chuki. Lechem chuki, okay. So it's like some kind of bread, right? Part of the bread. So it says in Mishlei Torah verse 8, from the word chok, statue. Okay. Just as one's nutritional need may be met even via intragastic feeding, meaning that we should not know of these things, but they can put a tube right into a person's stomach and feed them like that. The food does not have to come through the or in some people through the throat, but some people like through the stomach, so it does not have to come through the mouth, right? Intragastric feeding. So to the minimal purpose and the goal of the mitzvahs, it more than sufficiently provide for the mere physical act. Right? So it's very interesting concept of the mitzvah fulfillment, which is itself a show of subservient to the Almighty. Right? So it's very interesting concept. So when you do mitzvahs because HaShem said so, you humble yourself. You say, okay, HaShem, what is next? I'm ready because I know whatever you say, it's good for me. Do I understand it's good for me? No. It's like mother is telling a little son to wear a hat because it's windy outside. Does he want to wear the hat? No, but if he has a little brain, he understands. So if he's not going to wear the hat, he's going to catch a cold for sure, because mother knows better. So here and many times I think we have to humble ourselves and before Hashem and just do it. Doing a mitzvah even without knowing its meaning provides us with the basic spiritual sustenance requirements. So meaning as we were saying before that all of these body parts, right, organs and ligaments and right, so they need this nourishment. So when person does the mitzvah, so he nourishes and sustains, so they say all these organs. Yet just as one has a little appetite for nourishment, imbibed in such a fashion, and does not relish such tasteless food, so to the sense of excitement, intellectual identification, and emotional attachment that should be part of the parcel of doing a mitzvah is extremely difficult to achieve without knowing reason. Okay, so let's read this one more time and go and try to explain. It's a very deep idea. One more time, let me explain. Yet just as one has a little appetite for nourishment imbibed in such a fashion, meaning and does not relish such a tasteless food. So like even sometimes like a person like overate, right? For sure, cannot breathe. And now they brought something like tasty, like delicious in his eyes. So suddenly he feels hunger. So why he feels hungry? Because he likes the food. And sometimes you eat just a little, I don't know, like salad maybe without salt and without olive oil, without any dressing, just vegetable. So how much you can eat? Not much, even though you were hungry before. I don't know, some lettuce, I don't know, whatever people eat, right? So same is with the mitzvah. So but when this food, exactly the same food, when it has all of the ingredients, all of these added ingredients, you salt it, you put some pepper, you put some olive oil, or whatever you put, so now it becomes more tastier. So same as the mitzvah. Okay, of course you can do it as it is, like dry and like all of the details, but it's of course when you add all of these extra ingredients, it's going to you're going to like much better, right, and understand and enjoy. So too, in the sense of the excitement, intellectual identification, and emotional attachment that should be part of the parcel. So it's parcel. It's like the whole package of the things of doing the mitzvah is extremely difficult to achieve without knowing the reason. So you cannot have excitement. You cannot have attachment to any mitzvah if you don't learn about it. Okay, it is for this reason that Taam has dual meaning, taste and reason. Very interesting. As we can see, like totally different reasons. Meaning taste and reason. Okay. The reason makes the mitzvah appetizing and tasty, right? So person knows that with this mitzvah how much how much this mitzvah is going to change me as a person, like how much light is going to bring to the Jewish nation and to the world around us, right? So now like a person knows that maybe this this mitzvah is going to rebalance the scales, as we learned, as people from this group who were with us, we learned together Hilchos Dios of the Rambam. No, it's not Hilchos Dios. No. Hilchos Teshuvah. I apologize. Hilchos Teshuvah. So Rambam said the person must see himself, right, in the whole world in exactly balance. Right, I mean, he starts with himself in exactly balance, 50% good and 50% bad. So if I'm going to do one more mitzvah right now, doesn't matter how big is it, right? I wash my hands after eating bread, right? So now the whole scale, right, of the positive commandments of the mitzvahs are going to be heavier than my averos. So it's going to change the balance. And same, he said, same for your city, same for the whole nation, and the same for the whole world. So a person has to see himself, as Rambam said very clearly, a person has to see himself that everything depends on him. Right? If I do one more mitzvah, it's going to overweigh the positive things that the world produce would overweigh the negativity that the world produces. Why? Because I wash my hands after eating bread. You understand? So it's very like when you have this approach, and when you see all of this mitzvah, when you have this approach to the mitzvah, everything changes around. It's not just washing my hands after the bread, and some skip. So I'm in rush. Maybe I should skip, right? So that's not a right approach to the mitzvahs. So continue. Actually, the sentence before. It is for this reason that Taam has dual meaning, taste and reason. The reason makes the mitzvah appetizing and tasty to the heart and mind, so that not only the body, but the totality of a Jew, body and mind and soul, and emotions, wow, look at this, and emotion serve HaShem, so all of the whole capacity. The fulfillment of the words of David HaMelech, who says, all my limbs will say, HaShem, who are like you. Right, it says in Tehillim 35:10. It is with this in mind that we approach the task on investigating the mitzvahs of Kashrut. Okay, this next section is very long. I think we can stop here. And so that's a very, very interesting introduction. Okay, any questions on what we said or any topic? Go ahead.
Yes, Rob.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a question about whether he be a frum Jew or a Baal Tshuva or just a brand new convert, and say you start eating kosher like you're supposed to and whatnot. How much, like, is there a certain amount of like unkosher food that a person has to eat before he starts being spiritually unfit or to comprehend anything that comes from the Torah or from his teachers or whatnot, or is it dependent on that person?
Okay, no, it's an amazing question. So Rabbi Mizrachi Shlita said many times over the years exactly the answer to a question. So many times that they have Shabbatons. So Shabbatons meaning that they would rent out the hotel, like fancy schmancy hotel, right? And invite all these not religious people or semi-religious people, like right, all of these people, and give them these rooms for discount price. Discount, like I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 or 70% off, right? So somebody would pay it. It's not It's not a hot discount from hotel. It's discount from a sponsor, right? And these people come like okay, they working people, they cannot afford vacation, and now they give them 3 days. So like they arrive on Friday morning, right? On Friday, I don't know, after 11, whatever time is, they arrive and then stay until Sunday night, and Sunday they leave. So all of these 3 days they have lectures. The Rabbi Mizrachi here always say like you don't understand, like people like they come, like you see, like they come because of the money. Sometimes they offer the money to come, unfortunately, right? People come because of the money, this and that. But after like on the third day, like before going away, they dance with the rabbi. So Rabbi Mizrachi Shlita said, like, how is it possible? And he said that when the person eats the food, and we're going to learn here, I think, as well. So how the whole digestive process work, right? All of these nutrients, right? They being absorbed into the blood, and then blood circulates around the whole body, and delivers all of the nutrients, all of these things that were like it's absorbed from the food. So the blood like changes like every 3 days. So by the end of the third day, so when one person ate only kosher, and many people eat extra when it's free food, when it's paid for, and you can eat whatever you eat, they eat extra. So of course they have more fresh blood, and so it does not take months or years or tens of years. So it's actually very fast transition, very fast, right? When your blood changes, and of course there's a residue of this bad stuff that person had from eating non-kosher food. So the blood from the animals, of course, is there, but in the brain. But it's like after 3 days, you already have like a big change, and then of course it's continuous. But as we learned today, and they emphasize, and that's why I decided to do this introduction of the book. So like all this mitzvah, it's not only physical like dry act. It's like some explanation. I understand, like a person who disconnect, just listen to our class, can fall asleep, and that's it. Like he will sleep until the next morning. I understand that. Right? But when one person actually doing it and connect with the mitzvah, and now we just provide extra additional details, so he falls in love in the mitzvah, or he or she falls in love in the mitzvah. Yeah, you understand? And the person wants to do more, because why? Because it's a will of HaShem, and that's the only way I can connect to him, through the physical positive mitzvah, or abstaining from a negative. Right? You understand? So just learning hypothetical, like it so annoys me, like we have this channel, right? And when we post about Mashiach, okay, because it's very interesting topic, and we have like 500% more views than when we talk about something like much more significant than Mashiach. I'm not shy to minimize the Mashiach part, but like Mashiach is a separate event. He's going to come when he's going to come. But in the meantime, today I must know how to say the blessing after I went to the restaurant. Today I must know how to wash the hands for the bread, right? And know what to do. What if I went to the restroom, and if I can, and now I cannot wash for a bread with the blessing. Why? Because my hands are pure, right? So on this kind of lecture, they have like 500% less. So that's the issue. You understand? So to answer one more time to your question, to summarize, the change is very fast. The change is very fast. So, and we'll suggest to people, like, step number 1, stop eating non-kosher completely. Stop. Even you didn't change the dishes, and as we learn in a Kitzur, no, we start learning in a Kitzur, but in this book we're going to go into much detail. So after 24 hours, this taste is not real taste. So there is no problem according to biblical law, no problem whatsoever. It's rabbinical. So meaning what? Right? On the first step, stop eating non-kosher, and start eating kosher, even with all dishes, no problem. And then, with time, people change the dishes completely in new pots, new frying pans, and I don't know. So I mean, we have many couples, and the guy said, "No, my wife would never agree." So he does not want to do it, right? But he said, "No, my wife, she's like evil person." But when I said, "Bring your wife to our house," my wife is I'm going to talk to her. And when we explain the beauty of kosher, and we say, and you get a new set of dishes, everything brand new. She said, "Really? I'm going to get even 7 sets." Of course, she said. She looked at him like, "Why didn't you tell me? I wanted. I got tired of the old dishes. That's what I want. I want all new dishes." Okay, suddenly she's on board. There is no problem. You understand? So first step: stop eating non-kosher. So, and it doesn't matter where you live. So I mean, it does matter. In some countries, it's not so simple. There is no kosher sign. So still there is some lists where you can get from rabbinical authorities in that country. Sometimes it's public, sometimes it's not public. I'm not for whatever reason. As we explained before, they afraid of anti-Semitism. These companies, but internally, they would circulate this list where our products are kosher. Okay, so you can buy these products, and that's it. Start with that. Okay, and many times the price is exactly the same. They don't charge more because it has a kosher sign, usually, and unless it's meat or cheese, but otherwise or wine also. Kosher wines not much more expensive. I would say the same price as regular wine. Unless you're in California, yes. Okay. Any other questions? Any topic?
And this is equally for both men and women, or would it be more for men?
No, it's for both. Women are absolved from mitzvahs only from the mitzvah that are connected to time. So specific time for example, saying Shema. So we must say Shema until the 3rd hour of the day. Okay, so it's a very specific mitzvah. Or Shacharis, we have to daven until 4th hour of the day, but after the fact until midday. So women are not obligated, as we learned in our class of Halachos for women. They're not obligated. So that's why she can choose her own time. Whenever she's not busy with the family, with the kids, with other responsibilities, so she can pray at free time. But this time, this kosher, it's there is not time bound, not time specific. So basically, yes, yeah. So applies to men and women. But as we're going to see and then we learn, and just to continue to answer your question. When one person eats non-kosher food, it blocks his mind, and it does not matter. So I had these students. Unfortunately, we no longer students. So he refused. So he's very popular. I looked him up on the internet. He was a top guy, younger in his stories, like a younger fellow, and he was like top lawyer, very very famous, right? Very famous lawyer. So he found me to learn with him. Okay, so I thought that I'm going to affect him, but he refused to do many things. He was interested only in angels and why HaShem needed angels. Even though he was living with non-Jewish girlfriend and eat non-kosher, but the main point was like these angels, these dibukim, and I was trying to direct to the right way, but it was to know. Well, why? Because he did not want to eat kosher. That's it. That's mind is clogged. Okay. What else? Any questions? Go ahead.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
How much wheat have to be in the mixture to be considered bread? Let's say I have wheat flour. How much wheat flour do I have to add to my bread mixture in order for it to be considered bread that would qualify for challah, for example?
Okay, but what other ingredients you have there? Please tell me. So what other ingredients? I understand you have wheat, but what else?
So let's say yeast, wheat flour, cream of tartar, salt, baking soda.
No, but all of these things that you mentioned, they like the drops, like they measure in a spoon or something, right? It's like they irrelevant. So if you added this, or sometimes they add to bread to make it more puffy. What is it? Oats flour. I don't know, like they would add. I'm not sure how many, like maybe 25%, 20% to make it puffy. So it's still oats is also one of the 5 species of grain that the land of Israel is blessed with. So all of the mizoines, doesn't matter in what ratio they're mixed, it's still considered to be halal. So what is not considered to be bread, for example, if something like baked from a rice flour, right, or from a corn flour, completely from a corn flour, and maybe like a little, 5% of 10% of wheat flour. This not considered to be bread halachically, right? I mean, if you're going to buy it in the store, of course they're going to call it bread, right? They call it rice bread or something, right? But for us, halachically, it's not. Only these 5 species. So rye, but wheat is the most popular, the cheapest, the most popular one. So majority always in these breads, whatever you buy or even whatever you bake at home, majority is wheat and barley, and all others just additions. Okay, go ahead. Question.
So the quantity of the amount of flour that's added doesn't actually matter at all?
I mean, it's as I said, it's in most of the cases, it's majority. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Any topic?
Yes, Rob.
Okay, go ahead. Could you? One second. Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
If I cook, let's say for instance, I have a pot or a pan that I cook meat in, and the same pot I use to cook rice. And then we put it on the plate. Is that considered? If there's, I don't know how you explain it.
Yeah, no, I understand. If it's
it's going to be considered a meat product.
Exactly.
Or a meat.
Yes. That's yes.
Okay.
That's.
Go ahead. And if let's say we had there was cheese, but we're just having just the rice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a cheese on the table with some crackers.
Mm-hmm.
That would be doing meat and cheese, correct?
Okay, so no, it's the question is not as simple. Okay, just so you know, and we're going to go in details in this book, Beezrat HaShem, but I'm going to give you just some highlights as an answer. Some highlights. So we would say if this pot was clean, you cook meat yesterday, right? Yesterday morning, and after you cook meat, right? You ate, you did whatever you did, and then you clean the pot. So it stood for 24 hours, and then you decided to cook rice. So I'm giving you like simple scenario. We're going to go into deeper, we're going to see different scenarios, but straightforward. So if this pot stood for a pot was for 24 hours clean, and then you cooked rice, and you did not have any intention that you're going to eat it with cheese, there is no problem. So you can actually eat it with cheese, right? Okay. According to Ashkenazic tradition, so here that's when tradition split, right? According to Ashkenazic tradition, if you had intention, okay, I have this pot on top and like on the stove already clean, but for the next pot I have to, like part of pot, I have to go and look in the cabinet. I don't want to do it. I'm just going to use this pot, but I know that we're going to use this let's say like to simplify example, not the rice, but macaroni, right? I want to cook macaroni and eat it with cheese, macaroni and cheese, right? So in this, according to Ashkenazi tradition, it's absolutely forbidden. Because why? Because I have this intention. So if you did not have any intention, I just cook rice or I just cook macaroni. I'm going to eat with whatever, right? Let's have it as a side dish. So according to Sephardic tradition, even if you intended to you cook this macaroni in a meat pot and you intended to eat with cheese, there is no problem whatsoever. We're talking about pot that was cleaned for 24 hours. Okay, so we simplify the example. But according to Ashkenazic tradition, if you had this intention, forbidden to eat it with cheese. If you did not have any intention, you just cooked. That's it. So my kids like this macaroni. My kids like rice. I'm going to cook rice, and then we decided what to do. I don't know, whatever. Right? We might eat it with meatballs, or we made the kids like it rice with milk. Okay, with more milk. There is no problem. You understand? That's so. This question is not such a simple question. So if I don't want to go deeper, but that's a basic understanding. But in this book, we're going to cover all of the scenarios. Okay. Any other questions?
The reason I ask is because when my little one, she wants rice, and then with the rice, she wants to have her dairy product, which is like milk or something, or eggnog or whatnot. So, like I was saying, that rice being cooked in the pot, which the meat was made. Well, of course, not the same day, but a day or 2 days before, the meat was in it. If that's considered, meat and dairy.
So in this case, let's go a step further. So we say if that's what you usually do, that becomes your intention, and we will learn about in Halachos of Brachas class. So if that's for example, you cook for your little one, and little one eats only 1 second. Sorry. Okay, and this little one eats this rice only with dairy. She does not eat with meatballs, no chicken, nothing. So that's like automatically your intention that it's going to be eaten with the dairy. That's the problem. So that's why I don't know, in our Kosher class. So I said it's better to have 3 sets of pots. So have 1 pot only for paref. So you cook this macaroni, you cook this rice, you cook these potatoes, and they paref 100%, and you eat with whatever you want. You want to eat with cheese, you want to eat with meat, doesn't matter. So it's a paref, meaning not milk and not dairy, not milk, not dairy, not meat.
Sorry, I just have a question about it, Rabbi. When you said this, but doesn't it mean that if something is left for 24 hours and not used at all, let's say it was used for meat, and then you want to cook, you want to cook dairy, usually should not be a problem, right? Or is it because...
Okay, so don't provoke anybody. So basically, technically, yes, it's not there is no biblical problem, but rabbinically said don't do it.
Yeah, no, of course, I understand.
Okay, so yes, so that's when Rabbi would decide, he's going to ask you all of this question, and this is one of the deciding factors. Correct, you're 100%.
Yeah.
So it's not even though it was meat, but after 24 hours, and after you wash with a soap, it's not meat, it's some garbage basically.
Yeah. And what if, let's say, I think he said in his situation that I'm not sure if he cooks the rice with the dairy or dairy.
No. Only rice in that pot. Only rice.
So there's even more of a leniency, right? Because here
Correct.
You have cooked the par food, right? It's basically par food, the rice, and then you're eating with the dairy. So I think it would be, and especially if you waited 24 hours.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, of course it's ideal. I'm chas v'shalom, I'm not telling anybody, but it's definitely ideal to have 3 sets.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, could that be something that could, be something? Let's say you don't have 3 sets. You live in some place. So could that be?
That's exactly. That's what people do. So if not everybody can afford 3 sets, on some of my students they live in the tiny apartments. So they show me on the video. That okay, I don't know, like unfortunately for whatever reason. So I said okay. So of course we're going to not change Halachah. Chas v'shalom. Halachah stays the same, but we can for their situation we can apply some leniency. So for other people like who live in a state and have a decent job, I would say absolutely not. For you, it's absolutely forbidden. But for these students, we will find the leniency. There are leniency. You understand? So it's all many times it's all also depends on the person. Of course, we're trying to go by the highest standard always. That's why we're trying to achieve the highest standard. But we must remember that in some situation when somebody physically cannot, they have 3 cabinets, exactly 3 cabinets. So there is no, unfortunately, not so much income. So, okay, so we can find always a leniency in that case. Okay. Any other questions before we stop? Okay, no problem. So let's stop here.
I think there was one more, Ralph.
Okay, please read for me.
On the WhatsApp.
Yeah, could you please read?
Is it okay for women to put the Tikkun Habrit car magnet on her car for the sake of doing Kiruv?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So women are also part of this Tikkun Habrit. There is also wasting seed for a woman, and even sometimes even bigger issue because the women sometimes with their immodest behavior, immodest clothing, they promote this wasting seed. You understand? So of course, so that's the proper way to rectify the issue and to do to show 100%. So same as Chava, the first woman, she extinguished the Challah, they extinguished the candle, meaning the Adam that now he's supposed to die. I mean, that's why people start dying. Right? The consequences of events, whatever she did. So now, as a reminder, as a tikkun, as a fixing of that sin, women are obligated to light candles. Of course, his man is alone, he's single, or his wife is away, whatever. He's going to light the candles. But main obligation to light candles is on a woman of the house. Why? Because of the tikkun for whatever was done before. So it's only proper to do that. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so let's stop here. I have 5 minutes to the next class, so I have to get ready. All right, thank you very much. I think it was a successful class. Beezrat HaShem. Thank you for all of the new people who joined us today, and we should see you next week. Beezrat HaShem. Thank you and good night.